So I was thinking this week, COVID-19 has given us all a lot of time to think, and I was reminiscing and thinking back to my travels. One of the trips I did was to New Zealand last year. And more specifically, a story came to mind. So I was traveling with one of my best friends, and she is a young girl in her 20s, same as me. And we had booked our accommodation on Airbnb. And we booked this property that we were hoping was on the way to Milford Sound. And we thought it was in a town, but little did we know as we were actually driving to a property, it was in the middle of nowhere. And we were struggling to find this place or where it was, but eventually our maps took us to this kind of deserted property or farm. And it was a very long driveway, and we started freaking out a little bit, thinking, oh man, is this where we're gonna die? And we started driving down this driveway, and we come across a shipping container with bright red spray paint on it that says Airbnb this way. And we're like, oh no, here we go. So we keep driving down the driveway until eventually we get to an old farm property. And there is a guy who I would say was in his late 60s. He's the kind of guy that you see on a news report who has taken backpackers off the road and hidden them somewhere in the forest. He had a cigarette in one hand and he said, welcome to your Airbnb. He walked us upstairs, and me and my friend were trying to save money, so we were sharing a room. And he showed us the first room and I said, awesome, we'll both go in here. And then he said, no, you're not allowed to share a room together. And he kept insisting that my friend had to go to a separate room. We thought this was really weird, and we started getting really uncomfortable. As two young girls traveling, I was like, this is one of the stories you hear on the news. And eventually we agree, and he leads my friend down the hall to a separate room. Now, when he had left, she comes running into my room, and she says, please, can I sneak in here later tonight? I'm too scared to sleep in my own room. And I said, sure. There was no locks on the doors, and we were freaking out a little bit. But me, being the person I was like, she'll be right. And I was quite tired from my flight, so I decided to fall asleep and have a bit of a nap. I woke up to the farmer with a rifle in his hand downstairs of my bedroom window. So my bedroom window had this view. And I looked downstairs and I saw this farmer with a rifle in his hand, and he had my friend Sophia with him. And he started leading her into a paddock. And this is the point I started freaking out. I was like, oh no, here we go. He's taking her into this paddock, and I'm never gonna see my friend again, and I'm gonna be trapped here forever. Anyway, eventually time passes and they come back into the house, and my friend is grinning from ear to ear. And I was like, I wonder what happened in that paddock. It wasn't until later that my friend told me that she had a deep and meaningful with this man, and he turned out to be a recent Christian convert, and he was dedicating his life to Jesus. He offered us another stay at his Airbnb for free, and he also packed us a lunch and a breakfast every day of our travels. It ended up being one of the best places we ever stayed at, and we still to this day keep in contact with this farmer. Why I'm telling this story, and my point being, is sometimes we look at people and we judge them by the way they look. Maybe we're walking down the street and there's somebody with not many teeth and they're asking for money. Maybe there's somebody at school whose uniform isn't as clean as ours. Or maybe there's somebody in our small group that doesn't dress the same as we do to church. And I want to challenge you guys this week is to look at that outcast. Look at that person that doesn't quite fit in, and I want you to reach out to that person. I don't know if it's somebody on the street and you think that they might need help during this time. Maybe it's somebody that's been coming a number of weeks to your small group. But I want you at some point this week to reach out to somebody that you wouldn't normally talk to. As Christians, let's stop judging books by their covers and start seeing everybody like the children of God they are.